This is the opening chapter of my latest book, my third book, called Slipping Through the Web. Sparking energy crackled across her skin, while the clouds revealed a waterfall of stars cascading across the night sky. And then a hush against a soft, mesmerizing hum. One of those hushed moments you know are full of potential, magic, mystery. Something was about to shift from unknown to known. Something was about to appear out of no thing, an impossible becoming possible. Impatient as she was, she'd learned to stay still and wait, to allow the emergence, to allow the veils to slide away. With a whip crack of lightning and a growling, rippling thunder, she found herself standing in a huge cave at the foot of an enormous amethyst crystal. In the hush, she heard her breath, slightly ragged, the tinkling of water somewhere near her feet, and smelled the sharp tang of ozone. The facets of the amethyst glowed their signature color, and sparks of light glinted off the edges as if scything the dark. The air shimmered as if the very fabric of reality were bending, and then there it was, a slow, undulating movement. Something was shifting inside the crystal, not breaking out, not cracking it open, but phasing through it, as if the crystal were a doorway rather than an apparently solid object. That something, which appeared seemingly out of nothing, was a creature unlike anything she had ever seen. And yet something stirred in the deep recesses of her memory. Had she ever seen this before? But the question faded away. With no distinct edges, no hard lines, only a flowing, luminous form, this creature pulsed and expanded in time with her breath. It was pure white light, yet there was something undeniably aware about it. Not just a reflection, not just an illusion, but as if something was looking back at her. And then, without warning, the creature spoke, not in words, not in sound, but directly into her mind, with a voice like the hum of the stars she was listening to. You are not the first to find us, but you may be the first to listen. Her knees almost buckled. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The light being pulsed again, its glow intensifying, and suddenly the amethyst around it began to glow as well. The entire cave seemed to be responding to its presence. She swallowed hard, trying to steady herself. Who are you? She finally managed to whisper. The cave trembled ever so slightly. The creature's form flickered, its presence vibrating with her very bones. We are the memory of the earth, it said, and we have been waiting for you. Tears trickled down her cheeks. Everything she had dreamed about was held in this moment. Yes, everything she believed in was held rooted in this very moment. She tried to speak, but her mouth had gone so dry that her tongue felt like an alien creature itself. She could hardly form thought, let alone words. A memory had surfaced from a time in the heart of Chaco Canyon, that ancient Anasazi stronghold held in the embrace of New Mexico, when she had heard the words which had remained indecipherable for so long. You are the queen of the sisters of the keepers of the stones, and the key is in your bones. Eventually, after what felt like a lifetime, she managed to croak out a stumbling sentence. Waiting for me? Why me? But she knew it was time. At last, she would know what those prophetic words meant and what she was to do with them. Even though she'd first heard them 25 years earlier, they'd lain like an unfinished thought in her mind and an incomplete action in her heart. The moment the words left her lips, the cave pulsed again with a soft rhythmic glow. The creature, if it could even be called that, moved closer, its radiance washing over her like warm sunlight, though the air remained cool. Because you remember, it replied. Even when the others forgot, even when the world turned to noise, you kept listening to the silence, and now it is time. Her heart pounded. Yes, it was time. But for what? The ground beneath her feet felt less solid, as if the cave itself were shifting, adjusting to something unseen. Her vision went wild. She was seeing what looked like data streams flickering with unreadable symbols, geometric patterns forming and dissolving. I don't understand, she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. The being pulsed again, and suddenly understanding flooded through her. It wasn't through words or logic or scientific deduction. It was through feeling. Memories that weren't her own filled her mind. Visions of the earth before humans walked it, before even the forests had taken root. Of energies coalescing into forms, beings of light and stone, consciousness embedded within the very structure of the planet itself. They had always been here, the shining ones. The sweep of energy flowed over her skin once more. She knew humanity had stopped seeing them, stopped hearing them, until now. You came seeking life, the being murmured, but life was never missing. It is your sight that was clouded. Will you choose to see now? Her breath came in shuddering waves. She nodded, whispering yes. The amethyst flared into brilliance. The cave dissolved around her, and she teetered on the edge of something vast, infinite, and utterly beyond the world she thought she knew. The tears had dried on her cheeks as she heaved a sigh, released the tension in her shoulders, and sitting up on her sofa, removed her headset, placing it on the three-legged coffee table by her side. She shook her head, stroked her face from her brow to her chin and down to her neck with cool but clammy hands. This hadn't been a virtual reality program. This time she'd chosen the sound of the stars, a mind-altering and expanding meditative experience. She blinked. It had certainly been that. And even though within the vision she knew she understood, now in the dimming light of the day she wondered what on earth that was. Leaning forward with her elbows on her knees, she weaved her fingers together palm to palm, her two thumbs side by side against her lips. Running her upper lip along the nails of both thumbs, she closed her eyes and scrolled through each moment as if watching on her iPad. This was one of her rituals, helping land the different aspects of her vision, inviting them to enter deeply into her imagination, where her intuition could explore the meaning of the symbolism. Once this initial phase was complete, and she'd run through the entire sequence of moments, she breathed a long exhale, leaned back against the sofa, laced her hands behind her head and whispered, "What the fuck was that?" Laughter welled up at her profanity. She always felt it kept her grounded. "I think it's time for mushrooms," she said aloud. That's actually just the first part of the first chapter. So I'm going to leave you waiting there and read the next bit soon. Thank you for watching.